Hey everyone, welcome to That's No Moon, That's a Podcast. Today I am joined by...
Eric Whiteley.
Ricky Elliott.
Turk McGurk.
And I am, of course, Antoine Vandelay. So, we just got done watching the Comic-Con Star Wars The Force Awakens panel. What'd you guys all think?
It made me get a headache.
Seriously, I literally got teary-eyed when I saw it, like, no joke.
I almost don't know what to say about that. The one thing I will say is that shot where Harrison Ford sits down in the Falcon, in the cockpit, and J.J. Abrams is looking at him. I like to think that was the first time he saw that sight, and he realized, I'm here. I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I'm watching Han in the Falcon. Yeah, I just don't know why that moment specifically just seemed powerful to me.
Well, I was going to say, because it also was Daisy sitting, and it was John sitting and Han sitting, so it was like this whole culmination of old and new coming, and they're all just, it's here, and we're going to see Star Wars.
Yeah, even this guy's face, look at him. He's happy.
Yeah, no, it's funny that you mentioned that because, like, all my friends on Facebook, when I tagged them in it, they were all saying that same thing. Oh, but Han's sitting in the cockpit. Oh, that was just, it's like, I guess so.
It's the same as the trailer from Celebration. It's like you see all this new stuff before, and it's like, wow, new Star Wars, and then it comes back to Han, and everything's come back like, yes, this, and it's perfectly rounded out.
That part really got everyone, like everyone. Even if you weren't very enthused by the trailer, which not very many people were not enthused by the trailer, but that part with Han and Chewie got everyone.
Now, I wasn't at the panel. You guys all were, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, I wasn't there, but I did, obviously I watched it, cried, all that good stuff. But then I watched the audience reaction, like 10 different angles. And I just got chills every time.
Yeah.
The audience about ready, they start to get excited, and then you hear Han, Chewie, and it gets instantly quiet. It was amazing.
It's amazing, too, like, in that moment, everyone's excited because of all the stuff they just saw, and everyone gets quiet. It's not like we knew how long to be quiet, but after he said we're home, and it was just like, you just feel it, because, we're physically there. You just feel everyone's reaction in your body, and you can't help but react the same way.
Yeah, you can't put into words how much energy was in that room at that very moment. It was very cathartic, and like it was almost an out-of-body experience. Like, I couldn't control my tears after seeing that first trailer, and I'm sure that's what people felt when they were at Comic-Con today. It just was, it's great to see all this coming back.
I think me and Ricky had like this thing going where we, one of us would have it on, like someone came back from, like, I don't know, getting something from another room, and the trailer's on, and every time we had this thing where it's like, dude, I get chills every single time. It doesn't matter how many times I've seen it already. It doesn't matter what the volume of, like, the TV is. I just get chills every single time.
Now, I want to get into the specifics of the trailer, but before that, let's talk a little bit about the panel itself and some of the questions that they answered. I actually was surprised that they started off the panel with questions from the audience.
I said before, I thought maybe because they were going to, do big stuff at the end, but it was like throughout it, they were still asking people questions, which was awesome.
Now, the things that got me really stoked were the First Order pictures, where we got to see our first look at General Hux?
Yep.
General Hux, right? All right. I don't know if it was like Commander or as General. Yeah, General Hux, Phasma, and Kylo. And just I think you guys mentioned it, Turk and Ricky, that it was just seeing that, and then like the lighting schemes and just the sets that they were on, it just felt so right. It feels like Star Wars.
Yeah, it definitely looks like you're watching, like, the feeling you get when you see, like, stills from Return of the Jedi. It just looks like it's from Star Wars. It's right out of Star Wars, and we haven't even seen it yet.
And it's interesting, too, because, like, I'm looking at the pictures right now, General Hux and Captain Phasma, and it's like, the designs behind them, like the set that they're on, it looks nothing like the other movies, but something about it is, like, it's instantly recognizable, and it instantly says Star Wars. Like, it seems much darker and sleeker. It might be because, it's modern film equipment and stuff, and it's just, we can capture this better. But it screams Star Wars immediately.
Right. There's no questioning it. I think Mark Hamill said it best in the little tease that we got. He says, he says, oh, what did he say exactly?
He said, everything's changed, but nothing's changed.
Right. Exactly. And that's perfect. That's exactly how it feels whenever you look at any one still, any one image. It's so great.
They kind of had that feeling. Like, did you guys ever have an experience like, I don't know how long you guys have been out of high school, but, you know, I've been about 10 years now, and I recently went back to visit to, you know, do something there. And when I came back, you know, everything was different, but everything was the same. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like this kind of had that same feeling. I mean, it was quite literally, we're home. You may not recognize some things, but you have that feeling of being home with the Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's like an old glove that just fits.
Yeah, it's a really good way to put it.
I will say, I was a bit disappointed. There was a commenter or someone who was asking a question and saying, "Hey, any mention of Darth Plagueis?" Which, of course, I don't think that was ever going to be the thing. I don't think they would ever include that. But Loris Kasdan straight up said, "Who? Who is that?"
This blew my mind.
That was so sad.
My mouth dropped.
I could not believe that.
I'm probably the only person that just didn't care.
I don't know.
Because, I mean, like you said, like, no one expects him to be in the movie, so, like, I get Lawrence Kasdan, you know, he's part of Star Wars history or whatever, but, you know, I don't think he's, like, a fanboy. I don't think he watched the prequel trilogy like we did or anything, so.
No, I get that, but, I mean, it's kind of like to compare it to another franchise. Like, if you're writing Lord of the Rings, and someone says, "So is Morgoth going to appear in this?" And you go, "Well, I know who Sauron is, but who's Morgoth?"
Yeah, no, I mean, you
Yeah,
gotta know
that's
your
a slight-
shit. If you're writing the next Star Wars, you really have to know your stuff. Like, I mean, as a writer, you know, if you write, like, fan fiction even, you want to dig into everything
But
that's already been happened in this universe so you don't, you know, step on anyone's toes, so to speak.
I think the thing is, like JJ said about, even though it seemed oddly worded, about treating 4, 5, and 6 as canon is because, you know, like, Lawrence Kasdan doesn't need to know about those prequel movies. And it's probably better if he doesn't. Like, they shouldn't. They're like 60, 70 years past this movie behind it, so he doesn't really need it.
I understand that, but, like, in terms of, you know, a big thing in this movie is the passing of Excalibur, right? Passing Anakin's original lightsaber to Luke, and then Luke passing it on, right? So even though you can say that, well, the prequels, you know, they had their time, they're gone, let's move back to how things used to be with the original trilogy, you still have to have those threads rolling through each trilogy, you know what I'm saying? And I just feel like if you're going to be the head or one of the head writers, you know, at least respect the lore and read about it, you know?
Yeah, like for him just to outright say no, like not even no. He just said, "Who is that person?" I was flabbergasted. Like, literally flabbergasted.
I'm pretty sure it was JJ who he's the one that actually said no.
Wait, no, he said no, that he's not going to be in there. But Lawrence was like, "I don't even know who that is," which baffles me entirely. So that was only one little slight I would have at the entire panel. Everything else was like completely perfect. But yeah, like Lawrence Kasdan, I lost a little bit of respect for him after that answer.
See, the only thing that I'm sorry to keep going with it, but the only thing that really bothers me about that is I just hope it doesn't set a precedent for a lot of other things that we might see in these movies. With these movies, the anthology movies, I've heard things about Boba Fett maybe having a different kind of origin. You know, that's a huge thread in episode 2.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Have you guys heard anything about that?
And that's,
oh, no, I haven't.
No, that would suck. I mean, because, while the prequels weren't the greatest and they don't really add up to the OT, that's George Lucas' stuff. That is Star Wars. He created Star Wars. That's his stuff. It's his story. So, as far as I'm concerned, like, they couldn't do that. That would be ridiculous.
Yeah, the rumor I had heard is the actor Max von Sydow is either playing Grizzly Boba Fett or he's possibly Cyborg Anakin. But that's something else entirely.
What?
Yeah,
the internet.
There was a big theory that popped up about that shot of R2 and the robotic hand not being Luke. It's Anakin, or Luke saved him at the last minute, you know, from the ship. That's why they have the helmet at all or whatever.
But he died. We saw his Force ghost.
Yeah, we did see his Force ghost.
We totally
you
saw
know Star Wars fans. And
that's Darth
Vader died. Anakin lived.
But
we saw his Force ghost.
Yeah, and they even
at the end of the whole series.
In the newer one, they changed it. There was both the old actor and then they replaced it with
You see the Force ghost because his body died, but like Obi-Wan said, he's more machine now than man. His soul died. But anyways.
That's too much.
That's far stretching. Which
so
I see
Max
people doing
von Sydow is playing Vader's suit.
Yes.
No, but he couldn't have... Because even Vader's suit is burned up, to a crisp.
He had duplicates?
I'm gonna slap you.
And she will. She is physically next to you right now. So,
Yes.
all right. So let's get into like analyzing the behind the scenes sneak peek they gave us, shot for shot. First, we have Jakku, or what I'm assuming is Jakku. You know, we have a desert scape.
Yeah, what do you think are the odds in the new movie they'll go back to Tatooine? It's something they've done in almost every movie now, so...
I wouldn't be mad.
I wouldn't be mad either.
I'd be like, no.
The one thing I would say to something about that is if they're going to go back to Tatooine, but we have this new planet Jakku, which looks exactly like it.
How do you tell that one has one son and the other one has two?
I mean, like, it would be weird if in Empire Strikes Back we started out at Hoth and then we ended up at Hoth. That was a different planet.
Yeah.
Or Solus.
It was still snowy and yeah.
It seems unnecessary at this point. It's like, no, we have another desert planet.
Yeah, I was actually really shocked when they announced that it was like a new planet. I was like, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, everyone was... I was prepared to believe it was Tatooine. It's Star Wars,
Yeah.
right?
I was almost like kind of sad, like, oh, yes.
No binary sunset?
Yeah. And next shot we have the Millennium Falcon, which, you know, it's standard stuff. You know, it still looks shitty as ever.
Yeah,
I love it.
And yet it looks clean.
It looks
like Chewbacca cleaned up in there.
Yeah, just a little bit. Like the wiring in the bottom right there is all put away.
Just seeing this like one shot, like I want to see, or I imagine like Harrison Ford or Chewbacca like kind of cutting it around a corner and like running through it. Like, ugh.
Did you guys hear Kevin Smith's story about visiting that set?
Yes.
Yeah.
Getting those tears.
Yep.
Yeah.
He said, I love the way he said it because every time he took a step up that ramp, he lost 10 years. And by the time he got to the top, he was 7 years old. Oh, that was great.
Yeah, that's actually that's I can see someone spazzing, and we also see like Simon Pegg in this, and we see other just fans in it. Like there was a stormtrooper who was just like, I could die now, and it's like, like literally, like even just watching this footage, you're like, I'm satisfied. I'm good with this.
During the entire production too, like just the amount of stories too, and who they were coming from. It was like you were hearing people go to Disneyland for the first time. Like Daniel Craig is coming from Star Wars. Like that was the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. It's like what? Like everyone was just going to visit.
It's that amazing.
That you don't get that, and you won't get that with any other film for a very long time.
Nope.
No, not really. Not this kind of world. Like this has a very built-in world, built-in universe for Star Wars. Next shot, we have, I'm guessing, some Imperial compound, considering the color scheme and the look.
Yeah, this looks like
detention center, perhaps.
Speculation. Maybe it's Starkiller Base.
So pretty.
Oh yeah, they completely. I forgot about that. They completely announced it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, you
they
explain
totally
it.
Didn't they?
General Hux's base is. I'm betting it's on that planet. I don't know. We don't know if
The
it's
snow
in the movie.
planet?
Yeah, if it's Solus, which is totally Kyle Katarn's own planet.
So that's where the
It
little what is his name? The little one they say is a little Mexican.
Yep.
Yeah, he's
Oh.
from Solus. Yeah.
I think he actually comes. He's actually like an African. His language is based on an African tribe. I don't think he's a little Mexican.
Everyone, you've never heard that? Like people always say, like he's a little Mexican.
Yeah,
guy
he
speaking
looks like. I
Spanish.
get it. I get where that comes from. And then next we have R2D2, looking as not as shiny as ever.
We do, and the cool thing about R2 this time around is that he was built by the R2 Armatech makers. He's built by fans this time.
Yeah,
Right.
You guys hear that
Correct.
story? I mean, I think that's so great, reaching out into the fan resource community that's been working so hard to make screen-accurate droids. And hey, let's just use these guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Such a
They
great
actually-
idea.
Those
They
guys.
should do that with lightsaber choreography.
Oh,
Yeah, that would be
Zing.
the next best thing.
Yeah, and Star Wars Celebration, they actually had come out and they were introducing. They were talking about R2 and like their time on the set, and then they brought out BB-8, and it was like that's a real thing, and it was like it was incredible to see that like in person, to like just see it rolling out on stage and just working. Like it was magic.
BB-8 internally was thinking like, remember when y'all laughed at me in the first trailer? You all worship me now.
Goddamn soccer ball.
I am your god.
No, but those
That's
guys
exactly
when they were on the stage, they just looked like they didn't know what the hell they were doing there. They were just like, we don't know why we're here. We just like built stuff and now we're here. Like
Yeah, they were kind of like that.
they were like,
And I don't know if you guys saw the news too, but they were just hired to build the droids for Rogue One, so they're working on Rogue One right now.
Which you would expect R2 to be in it, considering the plans. Well,
if they get their memory wiped,
that'd be cool. Because I mean, R2 will basically be the one character who's been in every single Star Wars.
Now, is it canon? Is it canon that R2 got his memory wiped?
Yeah, like I've always wondered about that last
No.
one.
Because in Legends,
I don't think
Legends
so.
he doesn't. Only
No.
I don't think so.
That's why he has such a personality. Like, that's why he's such a crazy person. Because, like, if you play, like, KOTOR and you play, like, any of those, games, you learn that your droids, when they don't get memory wiped, they develop a personality. And that's actually why they get memory wiped, so they don't start getting, defiant and...
Right.
R2 is older than Yoda.
I think I remember somebody saying how poetic it was that the one character that's seen it all and remembers it all can't speak.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
C-3PO did get his memory wiped, though. That's for sure.
At the end
R2 got to keep his memories. Yeah.
Maybe we'll get a spin-off comic where Wedge is, like, totally defiant and just forgets to wipe R2's memory.
Oh, actually, I don't know if this is official, but Wedge is supposed to be... Oh, no, it's a book that's coming out. Wedge is captured by the Empire or something like that.
Yeah, I did see that. Like
I forgot what book it was for,
I think it's correct. I don't think it's Aftermath. I can't remember.
I don't think it's Aftermath. It's the other one. It's the... I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, he's in an upcoming book. So yeah, the next few shots are just showing the practical stuff. They have practical stormtrooper, or not stormtroopers, or are they still, they're still being called stormtroopers, correct? Even though the First Order, stormtroopers. They have like the mechanical head. They have that big beast guy. It looks very much like Jabba's palace.
Yeah, this alien that we're looking at here, that's not a Trandoshan, right?
I don't believe so. Is it like a fat Trandoshan? Let me see.
No,
I don't know.
I'm looking back right now. Oh no, that's not.
Hands,
Yeah, no, he's not. He's not.
Because, we had some fat Trandoshans in Clone Wars that kind of looked like that, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think he's a new species. There's actually a lot of new species in
yeah, you're not really seeing any of the old ones. It could be. I don't know. He kind of looks like a...
He doesn't... He's not
he's
not scaly.
Yeah, he doesn't have the horns on the top of his head.
And I love... There's just a quick shot of they have this animatronic of a speaking... being, and which is like so awesome. They did that a lot with Underworld and a few other Hellboy. They had a lot of animatronic faces, which there's a huge thing I think people miss. People don't prefer practical effects just because they have nostalgia or whatever like that. It really just feels more real. Like when you have CG that's like almost there but not quite, there's people are familiar with the uncanny valley phenomenon. It's more weird having that sensation than seeing a puppet that might seem a little bit phony a little bit, but since it's present, it's way more impactful.
It seems more tangible.
Yeah,
right.
It's filling that space in a way that 3D just can't do it yet.
Yeah.
Right.
And then in turn, they can film everything however they want to, So they can get crazy. They can put things everywhere. They don't have to worry about being careful for that later, putting something CG in.
Right.
I will say these guys that we're seeing on the screen here do remind me a little bit of the Nemodians from Episode 1. I'm getting kind of
a little bit.
Feel to them.
Kind of a mix between.
Hopefully, they don't have Japanese accents.
Yeah, I think that'll be cool. I think the semi-racist, stereotypical.
See, yeah. Now, one thing about that though, this is completely off topic, but people always, they kind of, poo-poo that Japanese accent there, and Watto kind of has a certain way he speaks, but no one ever gets upset that every British person is evil. Nobody does.
Right. I mean, it's a way that's the way he colors his world. He just colors it with, a very distinct vernacular so that you can, associate, okay, this is what this character is like, or this is what this species is like. I don't think he does it so much as like a race thing.
No, I don't believe so either.
Yeah.
I just, whenever I see those kind of things, I always think of the whole British thing.
Right. Speaking of British and evil people, let's skip right over to kind of they start showing more shots from the movie, and the first one we see is like a really cool swift panning shot to like a First Order corridor with Poe Dameron being like taken prisoner by a stormtrooper, and just from that, even that little camera motion, I can already feel JJ's presence in this movie, which is great. He has a great energy about him.
And it's something that I really like about Christopher Nolan films is that the camera's never still. Like it's always even if it's just two people talking at a table, it's always easing in towards them or something. And like just this is like, it's smooth and it's not, you know, I know a lot of people were worried it'd be too JJ, and you know, in a lot of his films he likes to do a lot of handheld stuff, but this is clearly more, it's JJ, but he's reining it in into Star Wars still. It still works.
Exactly.
This one's a little Star Trek to me. I don't know. It just reminds me of like the 2009 Star Trek when they're like kind of walking and running throughout the ship.
I actually agree. It does feel very Star Trek, that movie.
Yeah,
but
to be
that's
fair,
some of my favorite.
That Star Trek felt like Star Wars to me.
I agree. Correct.
I will say though, looking at Poe here, one thing I'm noticing the second time around is the hairstyle. You know, the one thing about hairstyles in these kind of movies is, you know, they will date a movie to the time it was made, to that decade. You watch a movie in the 90s, you can tell it was made in the 90s. This movie doesn't really look like it was made in, you know, 2010s, really. The hairstyle here does not look, you know, they don't have that look to it. Does that make sense?
No, I completely understand. I completely agree with that too. Like, I think they're doing very good about keeping it timeless.
Timeless is exactly
like even Harrison Ford's hair, like Harrison Ford or someone like him today probably wouldn't wear their hair like that. It's a little odd.
I mean, in the Rebel Alliance, you get a lot of 70s, you know, stashes. You do get that, but they are bringing those back on Rebels, so I'm happy with it.
They're keeping it consistent. I'm actually. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, you go first.
No, because I was actually gonna skip ahead, so you should go.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, there's something to be said about the fact that he's wearing Finn's jacket.
Right. Well, I don't know if it's Finn's jacket or if that's just a Resistance jacket.
Could be, because I mean, Finn, when he's in the desert, he's originally in the the Stormtrooper.
Yeah. So is Finn wearing his jacket?
Or maybe they just like, here's some clothes. Well, I mean, it happens to look like this.
The way they've presented it, like in Celebration and stuff, you know, they had his case and they said Finn. The concept art was him, and we haven't seen him in anything else. In any, you know, whenever we see him in the Millennium Falcon, everything we've seen is him wearing that jacket, except for the Stormtrooper.
Here's a mind blower for you. What if that's Finn in that Stormtrooper outfit?
Mission Impossible. Oh no,
he's not short enough.
And I thought about that too. I was like, well, what if they like clothes swapped him, or you know, something? Like, there's so many things that could be going on. Like, it's too early to speculate.
All I know is I want the jacket.
Yeah,
yes, me too. Awesome jacket. I actually want to do a fight as Finn at some point.
I
have an idea of doing a Finn versus Mara Jade, but I don't know if I can ever make that happen. That'd be kind of cool. Okay, yeah, so like I said, I'm skipping forward to not only this very real explosion, which is completely amazing, but something that you guys pointed out.
Yeah.
They are holding hands.
They are holding hands.
Huh. Yeah,
Daisy and John are holding hands.
And, I mean, unless they're a couple in real life, that seems like a on purpose thing for a rehearsal, you know.
Oh, it could just be like, you know, like
he's not blind, he's not Stevie Wonder.
Like a supportive thing, like all right, this is the first time we're gonna run into a giant explosion, you know, like for emotional support. And they're, you know, they seem to be really close and maybe they're really good friends. I don't know.
Remember in the second trailer we have that shot of her reaching down and picking him up. This could be a continuation of that.
I just was gonna mention that. Yeah, it could be a continuation of that.
I like how she's leading him through it. Like, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
I feel like Ren's going to be a badass in this. I just have that feeling.
Yeah.
Kylo Ren? Hell yeah.
No, I'm sorry, not Ren.
Rey. Yeah, they're setting her up to be. I really love it. She made a point, like, when she was talking about her character at Celebration, how she's self-sufficient, and she just seems like a really cool character.
I mean, that staff weapon that she's using, I mean, that looks cool, and it could fit pretty well into Jedi style. We never know.
Right, Yep, and they had some behind-the-scenes stuff of her training, so that's very encouraging to see that she's got some training, like, probably not extensive as, like, the Matrix training, where they had, like, months and months, but enough to, like, you know, get her by, which I think is great. I think that's gonna... And Kathleen Kennedy made a specific point that she wants women to have more of a forefront.
Role. Yeah. I like how they're not really showing anyone else's training, so maybe she's going to be the one that's really physical, like, from the get-go.
Well, They showed some more, or I guess it was just John Boyega who had shown more of his training, because he had been going through a lot of training.
What was he doing, like cardio or something? Or
yeah, he was doing crazy. He was taking ice baths every day.
And that's right.
Working on muscle mass.
Dude, you have to have some serious training to be in those freaking stormtroopers.
Yeah, especially since like they were saying they're out there in the desert filming in 120-degree weather. Like Simon Pegg said, I burned for Star Wars.
Speaking of badass, we have Kylo Ren stepping out of his ship there, which was completely amazing.
That shot is so
this
sexy.
is just amazing.
Iconic.
It really is going to be.
Yeah, he's
so
instantly
Vader.
iconic. Yeah, he's
That's
instantly iconic.
The next most iconic one probably to the one that's in the previous trailer where he turns around, he's got the hand that like,
Yep.
oh god, I love that. That's my favorite thing ever in the world.
I mean, looking at it here, it gives me obviously we think of Vader, but I'm thinking of the Emperor here too. If I squint my eyes, I'm seeing the Emperor's shape,
Yeah.
When he came down the ramp.
Yeah.
I want to be in a movie where I come down a ramp and there's smoke around me. I mean, that's when I'm home.
Oh, you know what? And considering how they were shooting it, because they were shooting it from a low angle, I can see that being the exact shot that the Emperor had.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm looking at the camera and I'm like, this is going to look cool.
Yeah, they're going to make him look like bigger than life. And oh, man, and just... There were some other sequences we saw, like they were running down a corridor, and even that, just like I think we tried the shot once before, Ricky, where we went from the ceiling down to the tunnel. Yeah, and it's just that kind of move. It's very small things like that, but that movement goes a long way with the kinetic energy of filmmaking.
On the very end of that shot of him walking down the ramp, there's like a flamethrower menorah. It's beautiful. That's exactly what that is.
Okay, this flamethrower, I'm looking at it here. I do not see any tubes running down that guy's leg or anything, right?
No, this is self-sustained. This is for real.
I mean, they built a flamethrower.
Yes.
Straight up.
Like, and that says something, too, about the quality of the costume itself. Like, that's not like a really plastic gun. It's not going to melt down on them. It works. He's an actual flame trooper.
Yeah. It's
right.
crazy.
Took an engineer to create that thing somewhere.
I love that in the realm and the universe of lightsabers and blaster bolts, we have good old fire.
Yep.
Yes, exactly.
Dodge this.
Tried and true. They definitely, there was a theme of keeping things practical. Right now I'm looking at the rig shot with Daisy, and it's so great because they're actually using the natural light of the sky outside to dictate what the light will be in the cockpit, which is perfect. Wait, what did I say?
You did.
I said cockpit. My bad.
Still correct. But no.
It just sounds weird. But yeah, just the little details like that, it shows that they are really paying attention, they really care, and they're making the right decisions.
I mean, heck, look at the shot of whoever this poor soul is putting individual hairs into Chewie's mask.
Yeah. Yes.
That just...
And it better be yak fur, that's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Looks so pretty. Like,
and C-3PO...
They didn't know it was going to get worn out so quickly because they weren't anticipating everyone wanting to hug him all the time.
I mean, he's so huggable, of course.
Now,
yes. Go ahead.
I was going to say, in this one shot here of Chewie, and I'm not sure who this gentleman here is explaining whatever, we're looking at Chewie's mask. I'm seeing artwork on the background.
I was looking at that.
I'm seeing the head of a pit droid from episode 1 on a human body. I don't know. Did anybody else see that?
Yeah.
I'm looking right now.
Oh, yeah.
Really cool.
Totally.
It makes me want to hit the nose.
Hey. Hit the
nose.
Yes. Hit the nose.
Oh.
Oh.
I mean, I gotta say, everybody always says, "Oh, Jar Jar," and all that stuff. If you guys ever watch that with a 6-year-old, they love that.
Yeah,
scene.
he really was for the kids. My
really was.
sister was about that age when we saw it, and she loved Jar Jar. And to this day, she defends him. Hey, you shut up about Jar Jar.
Yeah, the hate for Jar Jar has always been embellished, and I think it's just kind of a funny thing of how hated he is when really he's just whatever. He's a whatever character to me.
I mean, you gotta think of the time it came out. The hate for Jar Jar happened during the time we were discovering online hate.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
I agree.
He was like the first thing people got online and started to hate.
Right.
It's true. Gosh, Star Wars was even a pioneer in that aspect of our lives.
The shot too after of the guy talking, where it's just Chewbacca talking. Like when I saw that for a few seconds, I had to look at it and is that a clip from the original movies or something? Just look at it, looks like the original movie.
It really does.
I don't know if it's just because it's Chewbacca, but
Yeah, I mean, we know that Peter Mayhew had some serious surgery not too long ago before this, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Now, I mean, I don't know if they're going to have a double for a lot of the stuff that he does, but he has that distinctive walk that I've never seen anybody with that outfit ever replicate. I just hope that we see that again.
I think, I hope, it's because it's not like Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford had when he had his thing happen, it was during production, but Peter Mayhew's was, I don't think it affected it, hopefully.
Right. I think they were working around that too, so it should have been okay. I'm just going to say this. I think I am in love with Daisy Ridley and John Boyega as a not so much if they're a couple or not or anything like that, but just them,
as
the
a
entity
duo.
of them. Yeah.
As a duo. No, same here. That's why I was kind of hoping they'd lean toward the couple thing, because like we said earlier, like maybe it could be a thing because Han Solo was originally supposed to be black, but Harrison Ford was like, no, I can't do that. Just for the times, it just would have been so controversial. So naturally, it couldn't happen. And
I'm just looking at this shot of them, and you see Daisy Ridley's like just super genuine smile, and then John just being a goofball like he is. It's just like I'm excited to see them work together.
Yeah, and that is really interesting.
It's funny because I mean, you have to wonder if the casting directors felt this too, but it's like, aside from John Boyega, I've never seen Daisy Ridley in anything. And the fact that looking at two people where I've only seen John Boyega in one film, and you can see that, we're not even looking at them in the frame together, but they have this chemistry. It's just ridiculous.
She almost reminds me, actually, it's funny, they weren't romantically involved, but you remember in Attack the Block that the female, the neighbor that he sort of had he developed that close connection with. She kind of reminds me of Daisy Ridley, that sort of character. So that's really interesting. I guess maybe that's why we see that. But
and then real quick, I gotta point it out. There's what I think is a Gonk Droid.
Yes.
Is that a Gonk Droid? Please.
It's a Gonk Droid, and it's played by a woman.
The little woman. Yeah.
Yes.
She was so cute.
I forgot what she said. I think she's like, I'm going to go give life to this character.
Yeah,
like that.
Oh, so cute.
Yeah, it's so great. And then, even we were talking about the last shot before, but again, like I was saying, I think they might be shooting outside. Even if they're shooting in a studio, they're getting the lighting right. Like it feels like they're on a planet, or it could be in space, and they're getting either the moonlight or the starlight, very practically, and it looks very awesome.
I mean, because speaking of practically, it's like the Millennium Falcon was built
right.
There's that shot near the end. I don't want to skip forward, but that shot where you see all the rebel pilots and everyone standing out with the sunset, and it's just like we've never really seen that before either. It's the entire Falcon. It's real.
It is, and they put it on a gimbal.
Yes.
Yeah.
The guy operating the gimbal has a huge smile on his face.
That's so cool. He does have a huge smile. He's like, this is the best day ever. I remember the set designer too. He was saying like, I come to work every day smiling, and you can see that the work they're putting into it. You can see the joy that goes into it. You can tell no one, or at least most of the people there, didn't have a hard time making this film. They had a blast making this film.
Speaking of blast,
the stormtroopers flying through the air.
Stormtroopers flying through the air
on wire.
Something about that is beautiful. But yeah, no, kind of going backwards in between those things. When they're in the creature shop and they're looking at the armor, and I'm looking at that shot of someone literally weathering that rebel pilot helmet by hand. It's just beautiful to look at. Like in an age where we could honestly cheaper and more and quickly 3D print that and have it just totally done. And here he is scratching it perfectly. He's like, I wonder if in his mind he's like, and this is from that one battle we had that one time that laser blasted me.
He has a whole backstory for the helmet.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just a fan. Just a super fan.
You know what reminds me of that attention to detail? Lord of the Rings. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the behind the scenes for that, but they had each soldier have full-on chainmail underneath their plating that you never really saw, but they just did it because they knew it would feel right for the actors.
And did you hear about the process of making that chainmail?
Yeah, how much was it, like a day?
Oh my god!
They hired 2 guys to sit in a room and do that single link of chainmail every day for 5 years.
That's ridiculous. 2 guys?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
But that detail shows.
the detail for that, I mean, Theoden had in the Two Towers and Return of the King, he has this amazing suit of armor. They put details on the inside of the armor. You will never ever see that. But when the actor puts it on, I am King Theoden. You know, I'm not putting on a costume. I'm putting on Theoden's armor. It's such a great way to do it, and I love that Star Wars is getting back to that.
Yeah. All right, cool. So we're going to go into closing thoughts, wrapping it up. We've been talking for, I think, about 35 minutes now, so that's a pretty good length, I think, for a podcast episode. Anybody have any closing thoughts that you want to wrap up for what you felt about the panel overall, or the outlook you have for Star Wars at this point?
I can't wait till December.
Yeah.
It's weird. I have that feeling of just pure joy, pure nostalgia, and just pure jealousy of watching these people being able to do something that everybody else would kill for. You know what I'm saying? And they're getting paid to do it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's funny because it's like you're so excited and you're so happy for them, but at the same time you're like, oh God, I hate you, you lucky bastard. I wish that was me.
I know this. It's kind of interesting. This today was like the first. Well, and it wasn't like it was. It was the first time we've seen the trio back together.
Right, on stage. Right, that's correct.
Yeah, and then we're finally seeing Leia in it, and it's like, you know, it's when you think about it, you kind of say, oh yeah, we haven't really seen Leia yet. I wonder what she looks like. And then when you finally see her, it's like she's been missing from this thing the entire time. Han Solo, they've been missing from this, and it just feels complete now.
It's funny because you see it, they sort of I feel like they snuck that in there.
Yeah.
Like, oh, look at all these really wonderful things. Oh, look, here's Princess Leia in costume. And you're just like, oh my God, like that, I flipped me out. I was like, oh my God, like there it is right there. And then they just continue on, and I'm like, dude, that's so epic.
Yeah,
No, you're right. Like I watched the whole thing and I saw her there, but I didn't really think about it until you guys pointed it out. Like that's Leia.
Yeah.
Like in my head, I'm going through everything. Like, you know, she was able to feel Luke at the end of Empire Strikes Back. She always knew there was a connection. Are we gonna have any kind of Leia Force ability? There's so many possibilities. There's so many awesome things. I just wanna put myself in a freezer until this comes out so I can watch it right now.
Right.
I would think so. I mean, they kind of hinted at it even in the previous trailer we had where, you know, I have it, my sister had it, and they had it hinting at the lightsaber thing. Oh, is it Leia's hand? So I think they're going to do something with that.
Yeah, my personal feeling is that I think she's very perceptive in the Force. I don't think she's as combatively viable as say Luke, but I think she can probably mess up someone's mind or use a lot of Force abilities, that kind of thing. You know,
Jedi consular.
Yeah, exactly. She'd be a consular.
Yeah.
I think it'd be kind of funny if there was a scene or something where it's like Han and Chewie bickering or something, and she just kind of gently uses the Force to separate them.
Dude.
It's just that would be awesome.
That's why I want to see Leia as. I don't have to see her with a lightsaber. I don't have to see her in some duel. I want to just see her doing some mind tricks and things like that. You know?
Yeah, I mean she's a little too old for that anyway. We can't really.
She's kind of like Yoda. She just uses stuff when she needs it. Because she can.
Yeah, but yeah, I agree with everything you guys said. I think this was I think this is even better than having a full trailer because we get a lot more insight. We see the detail that's going into it. We see the passion behind the people who are working on this, and just seeing that makes one appreciate what we're gonna get in December, and I cannot wait for it. And I found I fell in love with Star Wars again during Star Wars Celebration, and I felt like every time they release something new, I fall back in deeper and deeper love with Star Wars. I've been kind of complacent over the past maybe few years and things like that. Not since I was a kid have I been this engulfed and enveloped by Star Wars, and I love every second of it right now.
It's because it's like Christmas. It's like after episode 3, we were like, okay, that's it, and you don't just think you're not getting anymore, and then for that to be totally flipped on its head, and it's just like anything's possible.
Right? Yeah.
Right. I believe.
It's funny because I'm still sort of in disbelief. I feel like it's not really ever going to truly set in until we actually see the movie. And even then, I'm going to be like, what is going on?
That is funny. Every once in a while, I'll just kind of be thinking to myself, I'll be driving down the road and I'll be like, oh my gosh, there's going to be a new Star Wars.
Yeah.
It like happens like once a day where I'm like, oh yeah.
That's
I really hope that we don't get into the situation where, because this is the thing. December comes, we get new Star Wars, and then the next year we get new Star Wars, and the next year we get new Star Wars. I was slightly worried about let's not oversaturate, but if they're going to put the love and attention that I'm seeing in this video into the anthology films, into the other two numerical films, they do another trilogy down the road, keep the passion, keep the fandom, keep everything there, and I'll watch it until I die.
Exactly. And I mean, you think about it, Star Wars, it's something that has so many fans, so I guess we're hoping that they pull from the fans with the really good ideas to keep doing Star Wars.
Yeah, I agree. I think that you guys all touched on it perfectly. All right, cool. So that's going to wrap up this episode of That's No Womb. I screwed that up. Sorry, no, I can totally cut this. It's okay. That's No Womb. That's a podcast.
Just don't cut it.
I'll just leave it. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to That's No Moon. That's a podcast. As always, this is Antoine Bandelay signing off.
Eric Whiteley sounding off.
Ricky Elliott.
Turk McGurk.
Pieces be with you guys, and may the force be with you.
Always.
Good job. I didn't know you were going to do it.
Nice.
That's awesome.